Stop apologizing so much. Hello, welcome back to my 90 days of lessons for me to you. And today is day 52. And before we continue and get into this lesson, I just want to say thank you so much to every single person who subscribed yesterday. I think we gained like at least 50, like around 50 new subscribers yesterday. We went from like probably, or 50, 40, somewhere there. It's at 77 now, it's still going. Thank you guys so much. I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the content. I would still be doing this if nobody was watching, but genuinely it does reinforce the idea that I want to continue doing this because, I've seen all the comments, I've replied to all the comments, and I just really do appreciate you guys for sticking around. But yeah, today's lesson is to stop apologizing so much. So this lesson is a lesson that I've learned throughout my teenage years, into adulthood, and it's, apologize. Like, I used to be a serial apologist. Let's put it that way. Growing up, I always said I was a people pleaser. I've let that be known here on this channel, and in some ways, I still kind of am. So with that comes that I want to apologize for every single thing, even when it's not my fault or it was things that are out of my control, right? Like if something, say we're in a group project and somebody doesn't get something done, I'd be apologizing on behalf of that person, and for what? Or maybe something that I had no control of came up when I had plans prior to do something else and to help somebody with something, and those plans came up. Or maybe I got sick and I'm out here apologizing for something that I couldn't control. I got sick, or my mom called me and she was like, yo, I really need your help with this, and I'm like, all right, mom, like I can't, those are things that you can feel bad about it or feel sorry about it, but I don't really think that's something that you should really apologize for. I know it's cordial, I know it's polite, but I truly believe apologies need to be reserved for when you actually mess up, right? Because the thing that I do now, instead of saying I'm sorry, and it's just a simple change of the term, it's just my fault. My fault indicates that I'm taking ownership of what happened, and I acknowledge that it may have been on my part, but it's not necessarily this apology, right? Because again, you don't need to apologize for every single thing that happens in life. Again, because you can't control every single thing that happens in life. You can take ownership for a lot of things that happen in your life, right? If you had committed to doing something, say tomorrow at 6 or at 5, and you can't make it, you'd be like, hey, I apologize, I can't make it tonight. Now, that apology is genuine, right? Versus if you're like, every single small minuscule thing that happens, you apologize, because the more you do something or the more you say something, the less value it has. The less you talk about something, I don't know if you guys have realized, but it kind of seems a little bit disingenuous when it's not used for things that are, I want to say monumental, but things that are relevant, right? If you keep apologizing for every single minuscule detail, if I kept on getting on here and apologizing to you guys for every single video and every single day that I missed, like, you guys would be like, okay, all right, man, it's kind of getting to a point. No, I get on here and be like, yo, it's my fault for the past couple days that I haven't posted a video. I take ownership of that. It is my fault. It's entirely my fault. And I take ownership of it, and I walk along with it, and I keep going, And as a man, I feel like you should operate in a space where, again, there's nothing wrong with apologizing. Taking accountability is very important. Apologizing and taking accountability is very, very important, and that's not just a man thing. That's a person thing. You need to take accountability for your actions, right? As a man, I believe, I'm gonna speak from the perspective of a man for the ladies in here. When it comes to apologizing, like I said, it should be a thing that's reserved for monumental occasions. If you messed up really bad in your relationship, if you messed up really bad with your parents, if you messed up really bad with your friends, if you messed up maybe with work or something, right? Be like, hey, this is an apology that's coming genuinely from my heart, and then you go about it, right? In your every day-to-day life, just be like, yo, my fault. That's me. That's on me. If something happens, some small details happens, that's me. You're late, that's me. You forget about something, that's me. That is a form of an apology, but the words are what holds weight, right? If you say my fault versus I apologize to me has so much more weight than my fault, because I put in my mind, I put weight on the words that I say. I put weights on the words that I say because I feel as if other people, it seems more genuine. And it is more genuine. If I genuinely tell you, yo, I apologize, that is a genuine thing. That is something that I've thought of, right? You shouldn't have this reflex to just be, I'm sorry all the time. That's when that's bad, right? I feel like I should have said that at the beginning of it. But if you have this reflex to just say, I'm sorry all the time, I'm sorry should come after you've thought about it. You've given it thought in your mind. You've weighed what's going on, right? And you're like, yo, that was genuinely my fault. I need to apologize for it, right? Versus, again, with my fault, you're just taking ownership of what might have happened. You're acknowledging that it could be your fault. But when you say, I apologize, you're acknowledging that it is your fault and that you need to say something about it. And apologies usually come with making a change, right? If you're apologizing for something that has happened, ensure that you're making a change that it doesn't happen again, depending on what it is. You should never be apologizing for being yourself, right? That's a huge thing that people are like, oh, I'm sorry that I was loud, or I'm sorry that I was this. Like, of course, pertaining to the being loud part, use it, be aware of your surroundings, know when to be, know when not to be. But, never apologize for things that you like. Never apologize for the things that you do, unless you're hurting somebody. But yeah, never apologize for the things you do. Never apologize for who you are, right? I know that's kind of veering away from the topic of my fault versus apologizing, but I just want to throw that in there. Never apologize for who you are. I've done that. I've fallen victim to that. I do something that I like or I, enjoy, and for some reason, maybe somebody else felt some type of way about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know that made you feel any type of way, right? So, yeah. I feel like that lesson was a little bit all over the place a little bit, but I feel like you guys will get the message of it. Apologizing is a very powerful tool that we have, and it should remain that way. It should hold value. Certain things that we say should hold value. I believe I apologize, I love you, and terms like that are some of the most powerful terms that we have as humans, right? It's not things that we should just be throwing out there like that, especially because, like I said, I put it with the I love you. I'm not just telling anybody that I love them. That's not a thing that I do. A lot of people do it. A lot of guys do it to manipulate women. A lot of women may do it to manipulate men. But, taking ownership is one of the biggest things you can do. Don't apologize for every single thing that you do in your life. And yeah. Again, I do really want to thank you guys. I'm kind of distant in my mind right now, but I genuinely do want to thank you guys so much for enjoying these videos. And to anybody who's going back and rewatching all of them, I truly do appreciate it. So that's it for today's lesson. Seek God with all that you do. Put him, in the forefront of your mind. Love yourself more than you love anybody else. And always, always, always remember, if there's nobody out there that loves you, I love you, but there is somebody out there that loves you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.